Stuart Broad said a while back that you were the worst Australian team since 2010-11.
I mean, yeah, it's great. There's so much hype coming into the series, and you never really know how it's going to play out. So winning 3-0's hugely satisfying for many reasons, but particularly, I think a lot of the chat before the series is how evenly poised it's going to be, and to win it in straight sets, it doesn't get much better than that.
One and done for skipper Pat Cummins. He'll miss the Boxing Day test, but he is a happy man, having led Australia to an Ashes victory on home soil, 3-0 heading into Melbourne. Hello and welcome to Around the Wicket. I'm Neroli Meadows. Joining me, Aaron Finch is back at the desk, and it's a very warm welcome to Graeme Swann. What timing?
Hello, Nez.
Be with us in studio.
Thanks for having me in. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this.
I've got to start, Finchy. You love Andrew McDonald. He used to be your coach. He's a great mate of yours. The Ron Ball shirts that Travis Head organised in the celebrations. Would Andrew McDonald have enjoyed that?
I spoke to him a little bit earlier and he said that Travis Head kept that very, very quiet. And knowing Andrew like I do, he would be very disappointed with that. He tries to fly under the radar as much as possible. We hear very, very few words from him generally. But all in good fun.
He is the quiet hero of this side, though, isn't he?
Oh, I think all the planning and preparation that goes on behind the scenes, every selection that they've made, I think under his whole tenure as coach has been proved to be right. There was a lot of criticism leading into the Brisbane test with the non-selection of Nathan Lyon, but again, it turned out to be the right one. So it's hard to criticise anything when he keeps getting decisions right. The
celebrations, do they beat the sprinkler, speaking of 2010?
No, they don't. But that's only because I was. It's only because I was involved in it. The fact that they still annoy Finchy now means that they did the job that we wanted.
Look
at that. That is.
I know. The problem with that is it went viral and made us all megastars around the world. But you know what? When you're the winning team, it gives you the right to celebrate how you want, and that's a good thing. So. Finchy doesn't like that. That brings smiles to my eyes. Those Ron Ball t-shirts, can't think of anything more pathetic, personally. But the Australian team had the right to do it, and they've earned that right. So fair play to them.
They do keep receipts. You've seen this as World Cup captain, a wry smile on your face, and they certainly did keep those receipts of Stuart Broad's comments.
Yep.
And by the way, I think the part of this quote from Stuart Broad that was lost a little bit was that he said, "Not an opinion, it's a fact." And the Ashes have been lost in 11 days.
11 days, yeah. That was brutal from Australia, how much they dominated the last two tests in particular. They keep receipts. The players say that they don't read media, they don't see much of it, but they read every single bit of it and keeping receipts.
I didn't think your boys could read.
Keeping receipts is just a reference.
I didn't think your boys could play cricket.
Wow. Stay humble, Ness.
Keeping receipts is just a reference to basically all the trash that journalists and ex-players have commented on over the last probably 2.5 years since the last Ashes. So, yeah, they've kept the receipts and they come out when required. You've
got to remember that these receipts, so to speak, Stuart Broad knows what he's doing. He's trying to get a social following and a media image over here in Australia, and you've all bought into it hook, line and sinker. So Stuart Broad was right.
The public loves Stuart Broad now.
This is, exactly, but he's popular. I would back him up in what I think on paper, the batting lineup is the weakest you've had since 2010. The bowling lineup is probably the strongest.
With so many moving parts, that's what's the most impressive thing about the Aussies winning this Ashes series so easy, 3-0. No Josh Hazlewood. Pat Cummins misses the first two tests. Nathan Lyon barely takes part in 1.5 test matches. Steve Smith's out. The uncertainty around the middle order as well. So that just goes to show the depth that we've got to choose from. Whichever way you plug a player into that 11, they perform well.
So on that very point, it's interesting because it's almost that squad mentality versus the loyalty that England showed to the 11 that they picked Ollie Pope, for example, because it was a lot of plan B, plan C, plan D type stuff. And sometimes it's being over-prepared is actually the best preparation, being ready for breaking news. The script goes out the window because a lot of the things that Australia did were not in their original plans. Carey keeping up to the stumps. It wasn't supposed to be Boland and Nisa in the 11 to begin with. Mitch Stark's batting, for example. There's a lot of these sort of things. Khawaja coming in at 4 with Travis Head opening. They weren't in the original plans.
Yes, and they've adapted well. The thing is, once you get off to that good start and win that first test match, which is all down to Travis Head. When you look at that, that wasn't an Australian performance. That was a Mitchell Starc, Travis Head performance. When you've got your two sort of superstars, your best players performing like that, it's such a weight of responsibility off the other guys. It allows them to just take a breath, to breathe, to get themselves into this series. That's what Australia have done brilliantly in this series. Their big players, Mitchell Starc especially, has been off the charts. Travis Head's been off the charts. It allows you to carry one or two players who are having very quiet average series, and we're not even talking about them because the victories keep coming. So that's what they've done really well.
Once again, you were there when Justin Langer was the coach. There was a message from Pat Cummins out to the former players who said, come down to the rooms, have a drink with us. Was this a healing moment for Australian cricket? Because sometimes all you need is a common enemy, isn't it, to get back together?
Yeah, I think the invitation's always been there from the past players, or for the past players to come into the change rooms whenever they want. But I know it's not as easy as that, just knocking on the door and saying, right, I'm here to have a beer with you, you've won the test match. So the fact that it was a formal invitation pretty much from Pat Cummins to say, come and enjoy the celebrations, come and enjoy what you've been a part of previously, I think it's brilliant and it should happen more. And I know, like I said, the invitation is always there, but it's not as easy to just turn up uninvited almost.
Yeah, it's true, because the second you're out of the team, you feel a million miles away from it. It's not just that you're not involved in, or you didn't play the test. Even when your mates are still playing, you feel like you never played in it. It's really strange.
Do England do that? Do they invite
No.
the past players?
I went in a couple of times when Alistair Cook invited me back, mainly because he's my best mate.
Yep.
And I was at the ground working for the media. But to have that sort of link to your old team, I think that is brilliant. That's something that definitely should carry on. And well done for Australia for doing it. It's I wouldn't mind going into a change room when they're 3-0 up. I wouldn't have wanted a beer in that change room at Adelaide after being 3-0 down.
A big reason why they are 3-0 up is Alex Carey, doing with bat and gloves. He's been extraordinary. Player of the match in Adelaide. Considering the mental state that he was in after the Ashes a couple of years ago, the villain in England, to see what he's doing here, what does it say to you?
Well, he's mentally very, very tough and resilient, but the fact that the last 2 years he's probably been one of the most consistent Australian players across the board. And I mean, to be averaging almost 70 in an Ashes series, batting in that number 6 role, that is really important. I said before the series started that it could be a battle between Jamie Smith and Alex Carey for how the Ashes goes, because it's such an important role of that keeper. One, to take your chances, and we've seen Alex Carey be flawless right throughout, but also it's a real swing position, that number 6 and 7, because inevitably your top order gets knocked over in Test cricket quite regularly, I think.
These days.
Yeah, and the fact that you've got a guy that can come in and be counter-attacking but also get bulk runs is so important for Australia and for England. And I always felt that was a real switch. But yeah, he's been unbelievable. His keeping's as good as I've ever seen it. And I mean, when Ian Healy, I chatted to him out the back of the comm boxes in Brisbane, and he said that is as good a keeping display as you'll ever see, what Alex Carey produced. So that's pretty high praise.
Just finally, DRS. Mitch Starc has come out and said, why does the ICC not pay for it? Why is it not uniform as a POM? What do you think?
100%. I mean, if you're going to have technology, take the human element out of it. It's as simple as that. When it came back, I mean, the Alex Carey dismissal was so blatantly out, and everyone knew it. And we're playing a strange game where, because walking isn't de rigueur, people don't do it. Sort of, it's cheating in a way, if you look at it that way. I'm talking like a bowler at it.
Yeah.
And because Alex Carey could then just give us, well, I probably would have referred it. Are you a walker? Doesn't seem like it, does it? I mean, it's
Clearly
just.
not with
but
the
we
way-
can sit there and laugh about the fact that they then have to say, well, the bloke pressed the wrong button. He turned up the wrong microphone. I mean, I felt for the poor bloke who'd been thrown under the bus. It was just an admittance that this technology we've got is so bad, and because a human being is in charge of it. So it has to be uniform. It has to be done by the ICC. For once, I agree completely with an Australian.
Don't go anywhere, because we're going to be joined by Michael Clarke after this short break. We're going to talk about England.
As captain, you look back at the last few weeks, is anything I would have done differently if I could change that now?
Called heads first 2 and won this one.
England captain Ben Stokes there after the Adelaide Test. England going down 3-0 so far this Ashes series. Joining us now, former Australia captain Michael Clarke. Pup, what did you make of those comments?
I remember that feeling when you're losing. You hate going to a press conference as captain. Look, I think Stokes might have done a few other things differently as well. Maybe make more runs, take more wickets, and hold on to your catches. They probably would have been in a better position than what they're in now. But I get his frustration. He certainly tried his best as leader, and he's led from the front. So you can understand and you can see why his answers are quite short and doesn't want to go too far into it. So understand it. But yeah, I think Australia had been better at all three facets of the game.
Former captain yourself, what would you have made of those comments?
Yeah, exactly like Papa. I think that you focus on what you need to do as a team. And to me, that starts with the preparation leading into the series. You have a 2-day game at Lilac Hill where it bounces ankle height, and then you go to the Perth Stadium. So for me, I think that's the time when you can start to address things and you say, you know what, looking back at it now, we did get a few things wrong in the lead up and we could have done a few things different tactically. So I think you need to own it a bit more than that.
Pup, you mentioned the fielding there. You're pretty fired up about this.
I think the catching's been dreadful, to be honest. Look, nobody means to drop catches, and we've all dropped them, there's no doubt about it. But I think that's probably been one of the things that, England over time has got a lot better at. I think their fielding's improved, their general ground fielding's improved out of sight. And it was a big change, I guess, in, the teams that I played against. When they caught well, the batting and bowling was always pretty close between England and Australia. But the catching's always been significant. And I don't think I've seen an England team catch as bad as I have this series.
Swanee?
I've got to agree with him. Watching slip catches go down, especially like the odd one, yes, if it goes quickly and you suddenly go down. But it's one of those things, when you're winning test matches again, you seem to catch everything. I mean, Labuschagne will never take two better catches in his life than he's taken in this match. And when they're going in, it really shows up how badly the other team are catching. But I'm with Pup completely there. I'm always with Pup. He's my favourite Australian captain.
Miss you, buddy.
There we go. That's a bit of love I wasn't expecting on Around the Wicket. They did put up a bit of a fight, though, and Jamie Smith was going beautifully, and then that dismissal. Ricky Ponting called it dopey,
Do we have to talk about this?
Just channeling his inner sort of Gavaskar. What did you make of this moment, Pup?
Yeah, look, again, I think he's been under pressure with the bat and not batting as well as he'd like. So his intent was very clear from ball one. He wanted to play his natural game. His mindset was probably, look, if I'm going to get dropped after this test, I'm going to go down playing my way, which, again, I thought he played really well, put pressure back on the bowler. It's just, I think this is a good example of moments throughout this series where England just let themselves down. They were getting momentum back. They were building a partnership. Mitchell Starc was bowling as well. I think he did 2 fours in. That might have been Starkey's 12th over. I just think, Paddy Cummins is 3/4 of the way back to the rope. He just didn't need to play that shot. So, I don't know. I know a lot has changed in our game, but when I played, if I got out like that, I would not have been walking back into that change room with Steve Waugh or Ricky Ponting as captain, let me tell you.
It was on the back of 4 consecutive boundaries. He came out, he batted very circumspectly and done a great job. And then it was like he decided, right, I'm going to flick a switch here and put his foot down. And world-class players go through the gears. If they're going to suddenly bat more aggressively, they might hit a 4, might hit another one, but they're still very watchful. I wasn't that bothered he was trying to be aggressive. It was the choice of shot, a left armour, a world-class left armour, going across you and trying to hit it over mid-on when there's huge gaps in the offside and you've already hit one through the offside. If you're going to hit it, at least hit it the side the ball's on. Yeah,
the thing for me is that every time England look to take a risk or look to up the ante, it is a high-risk shot. It is it's in the air. It's always aerial. So for me, you can put pressure on an opposition. You can put pressure by being aggressive, but it doesn't have to be the most extreme risk that you take. It can still be with positive footwork and you can still smack it along the ground. There's nothing wrong with that. So it just seems every time that they get back into the contest, they let themselves down with what Ricky Ponting said, a dopey mistake, one that you just are sitting back on the couch and watching it and you go, why do you take that choice? Why do you have to take the most extreme choice? You can still do it in other ways.
Do you think though that, and I'll ask Pup this, when you're in charge of a team, a guy's had a quiet Ashes, as in Jamie Smith, he's not done as well as he might have done, and then all of a sudden he hits a bit of form. How would you then go about it? Do you say to him, look, mate, that was just dumb, or do you say, look, we love what you were trying to do there? Because a lot of the, Stokes backing him up has to be the captain, making sure his keeper gets that message. We're not throwing you under the bus here. We want you to be better.
Oh, they can't blame him for losing the Test match. And look, I think, as a batsman, getting low scores is part of the game. It's when you do get that half century, when you've made no runs in the lead up, that you want to go big. You want to make up for missing out. And he had a great opportunity to make a Test 100 and make a big one and maybe help his team win that Test match. So that would be more my conversation. It wouldn't be change the way you play. It would be choice of shot in that moment when we still had a chance of winning the Test. You virtually, as a batsman, if you miss out a number of times, your mindset is right. When I get in, I owe this team. I owe the selectors for sticking with me. I owe the captain for keeping the faith. Go on and make 130 there. England win the game. So I think it's all learning as well. That's the other thing. Look, England are copping a flogging at the moment because they're 3-0 down. But I've been in that position as well. Losing an Ashes series is never fun. Everyone looks at every single thing. It's about trying to get better now, this England team. Every single thing they do from here on in on this tour, they've got to try and get better.
And look, Ben Stokes did come out and say that's one of the great strengths of his. It just didn't come off on this particular occasion. Zach Crawley, at the end of day 4, before the Test had even been lost, Pup came out and said, if we can get it back to 3-2, suddenly it's a pretty good series. We were that close. Thoughts?
No, not my jam. It's not how I play sport. I don't know Zach at all, and I don't know if he's been told to say that, but mate, my daughter's 10 and I don't want to lose to her in a running race. So, playing for Australia. Exactly right. I didn't say I'll win, but I don't like losing. I think that's instilled in us, and it's not just the Australian way. I think sport in general, you understand losing is a part of it, and you respect that, but you get out of bed every day to try and win. So it's like, if we lost by 5 runs or lost by 80 runs, it didn't bother me. We lost. It's about trying to win. So, yeah, I don't know what 3-2 means. It looks better. Maybe players don't get dropped and coaches and captains don't get sacked. I don't really know what he means by that. But to me now, of course, you're fighting your backside off to try and win the next 2 Test matches. But you've lost the Ashes. That's what I'd be thinking in these next 2 Test matches. And if I got in with the bat, I'd be just batting as long as I could, try and make as many runs as I can. If I was in Stokes' position, I'd be trying to win. I'd still risk losing these 2 Test matches to try and win rather than play for a draw, for example. They've got to get something out of this tour.
You've been nodding along there, Swanee.
Yeah, I agree completely. You've got to try and win it. I think I'm going to stick up for Zach here. He's not gone out saying, it's fine if we lose 3-2. He's a nervous lad in front of a camera just saying, look, if it ends up at 3-2, the scoreline doesn't look as bad. He's not trying to paper over the cracks there.
The Aussies have come out and named their 15-man squad for the Boxing Day Test. Cummins and Lyon are obviously out with their various injuries, and Nathan Lyon will have surgery, so not good there. But Todd Murphy has been added into this squad, as has Jai Richardson. I asked both of you, Pup and Finchy, to name your 11s for the Boxing Day Test. We'll take a look at them now. Couple of interesting things here. You're both sticking with head off the top. No Usman Khawaja, Pup, and then you've got Doggett, while Finchy's gone with Richardson. And you think that even though he's not in the squad, Matt Kuhnemann would have been your choice of spinner. Chat us through it, Pup.
Yeah, well, I said my piece on Uz. Like Uz, good friend, but I think, the selectors made their play last Test. It was only for Smitty getting sick that he got brought back in. So Smith comes back in to replace Khawaja at number 4. Definitely I'd be keeping Travis Head at the top of the order now. I've gone Doggett to come back in for Cummins based on the opportunity he got and his performances. I don't think he let anybody down. And I went Kuhnemann. I guess a big part of that for mine was he's been the second spinner for Australia for a bit of time now. I think England, if I'm correct, Swanee, you'll know, 8 or 9 right-handers in that batting order as well. So I thought left-arm orthodox, spinning away. His record, him and Todd Murphy, their record's pretty similar. I think Kuhnemann's might be a little bit better, but not too different. It was more just, personal preference more than anything else.
Yeah, and I went with Jai Richardson purely as a point of difference in the attack. I think that his skill level is so high. We've seen when he's got his opportunity that his ability to swing the ball, bowl fast. I felt as though Doggett and Boland, they bowled similarly. So I think you just need that point of difference in the attack to some degree. You still can't throw very well at all, but I don't think that matters a huge amount. And I went with Murphy, he's a Victorian. So you have to go with Todd Murphy. You could have thrown a blanket over the handful of spinners as well. And you throw Corey Rocchiccioli in there as well.
Absolutely, and I think you're missing a little bit of a trick. Corey Rocchiccioli, I saw him bowl for the A team last year. I think he's a really good bowler. Yes, Murphy and Kuhnemann are both good. They've both played and you've both seen them a little bit. Rocchiccioli could be a spinner for the next 10 years. I think when you're 3-0 up, you throw him in. I think he's a really good bowler.
It is great to see Jai Richardson back in the fold after everything he's been through. Do feel for Nisa, though, the fact he's still in the squad but not in either of your 11s, considering how well he did at the Gabba. Pup, thank you very much. We'll chat to you after the Boxing Day test. And Merry Christmas, Pup.
Merry Christmas.
Well.
Yeah, you too. Have a good Chrissy, guys.
Ho, ho, ho.
Don't go anywhere, because after this short break, we're going to hone in even further on where England cricket is at. I hate to rub it in, Swanee, but a quick look at some of the ICC results for the men in the last couple of years. 7th at the 2023 World Cup, semi-finals at the T20 World Cup, but crushed by India in that one. In the Champions Trophy earlier this year, lost all 3 matches, and then in this ICC World Test Championship, so far just 2 wins from 8 games, sitting 7th on that table. Are you concerned about where England cricket is at the moment?
Can I just put to that little list 2019 World Cup winners, 2021 T20 World Cup winners? It's not all doom and gloom. Stats can tell a story.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, but in cricketing terms, it really is. It is concerning how it's gone. Only because, for me, how far ahead we were, say, in white ball cricket in 2019. We didn't just win that World Cup. We were, the leading light in world cricket, which we hadn't been for a long time. No, we won by the barest of margins, remember? The barest of margins. I still think that, the diving 4 from Ben Stokes is the greatest shot ever played in English cricket. But, yes, it is a bit disconcerting, how far the results have gone down. I don't think it's from lack of talent. Whenever I look at the team, I just think they are underperforming. I think the main thing for me is that the lack of runs that this batting lineup is managing to put on the board. I think if you're going to win in Australia, you have to score big runs. And I think we overlook it. I honestly think we've done that since 2010, when the runs of Cook, Strauss, Peterson, Trott, Bell, what a batting lineup that is. Pryor. That's a cricket team. Yeah. But the runs that they put on the board, if you're getting 650, 700 in Test match cricket in Australia, you can win the game. If you're never getting past 350, you just don't win anything.
Steve Harmison has come out and launched a spirited critique of where they're at the moment, particularly in the Test side of things, saying there's too many yes men, essentially. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's hard to know exactly what goes on behind the scenes, but he was referencing when he was in line to be the selector. A selector, and he said that one of the reasons why he wasn't chosen in that role was because they said you can't challenge the captain or coach, and it's only his opinion. So we're not saying, well, I'm certainly not saying that that's how English cricket is going at the moment, but that was his opinion at the time. And if that's right, well, then that's a pretty tough place to be in when you go, right, well, the hierarchy there of Stokes, McCullum, Rob Key, if we can't challenge them, even as a selection panel, then it's going to be tough to pick the right players. And just to go back a second and touch on English cricket, the fact that there's not a huge amount of respect put on the county game and performances in county cricket, I think that is an alarm bell for me, because that's where you find your game, that's where you groove your game. And if guys are getting picked before they're ready, it's okay to pick one player who identifies as a seriously talented player and throw them in there around the group, because when you've got a quality side, you can carry 1 or 2 players that you can nurture for the next generation. But when you're picking most of your side on potential, that's a tough place to be.
It's not a new thing in English cricket anyway. People may not realise this, but Trescothick and Vaughan were not prolific in county cricket before they were playing for England. They were good county players, don't get me wrong, but they wouldn't have been averaging 50, 60. They were picked because Duncan Fletcher at the time saw something in their techniques that would transfer to Test level. And we all know Trescothick and Vaughan ended up being 2 of our best ever players. That almost set a precedent back in the day that, well, if it worked then, it can work sort of further down the line.
1 or 2 players, but you can't pick a side that don't have the first-class hardening as some others.
So Brendan McCullum, he's now the white ball coach as well. He wasn't for those World Cups that we just spoke about. Is he going to survive this Ashes series, do you think, as coach?
I think he will. I think he'll be in charge as long as he wants to be. What he's done for English cricket and how he's turned it into those stats don't back it up recently. But the style of cricket they played and the style of cricket he wants them to play, I think actually is the right way forward. I think there's other stuff that, you know, behind the scenes that needs to fall into place for it to be successful again. But this bunch of players they brought out, the 16 they brought out, you're not looking at many players back in England who, you know, were really pushing to get in instead of them. There might be the odd player here or there who you would argue played a different brand of cricket, who a different coach may have said, no, I need, you know, an Alistair Cook at the top of the order rather than a Zach Crawley. And I think every coach would want an Alistair Cook at the top of the order, but, you know, a more solid player. So I think that might be an area that they start to say, well, are we picking players just on the way they're going to play the game or on output? So, you know, I think he'll be fine. I think he's a brilliant coach, Baz, and I think the way he spoke after the game, he was very upfront, very honest, and he said, I've underestimated how good this Australian team were going to be over here. I thought they'd be good, but, you know, they've blown us away by how brilliant they've been.
Jeffrey Boycott's come out and said he wouldn't mind seeing Jason Gillespie as a coach. You think that perhaps Tim Payne looks like he's gunning for the position with a few public comments he's made over the last few weeks?
Well, knowing Tim, he's always been very critical of opposition and he's not afraid to mention it. But just lately, there's just been a change of tone from Tim, shall we say, where he's just saying, oh, no, England are going all right, yeah. So maybe he's just angling for a little job somewhere in that little setup. Yeah.
You know something, don't you?
I certainly don't. I know nothing.
We know nothing. We just know what Payne is like. Watch this space. Don't go anywhere because we're going to take on the short stuff next. Time to take on the short stuff. Nathan Lyon's new nickname, Filthy. Do you like it?
Love it. You can't get anything past this Australian side at the moment.
So relatable. Have you ever done a Joe Root-style cartwheel?
I can do a great cartwheel. I'm not going to do it here, but I can do a great one.
I want to see it after the show. The Barmy Army cleaning up the stands, sweeping the stands, I'm calling it. Do you love it?
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. It's a good part.
What do you want for Christmas, Swanee?
You to wear an England shirt.
Hey, I'm wearing red. That's polite enough, isn't it?
No.
Merry Christmas, Swanee. All the best. Maybe it can be 3-2. See ya.